In this training, I'm going to be breaking down what I've learned over the last 12 years in sales, building sales teams to over 40% average conversion, collecting over $6 million in cash per month, multiple times. So whether you're a new business owner, a new agency, or a new seller trying to break through that $30K per month in commissions collected barrier, this video will show you the mistakes to avoid to make sure you don't have to go through all the massive waste of time, money, and energy that I had to learn these lessons. These are the three most common mistakes that I see business owners make, and the three most common mistakes that I see salespeople make. Now, if you're a business owner, you can skip to the halfway mark in this video. If you're a salesperson, the knowledge starts right now. The number one thing in your sales call that you must never forget is to keep the main thing the main thing. And what is the main thing? Well, I'm about to tell you. You've probably heard that phrase, keep the main thing, and you've also probably heard the phrase, don't major in minor things. This is so easy to forget in sales. Well, everyone's trying to get you to use a new talk track or use new tonality or use new tactics. I'm gonna just teach you one thing, which is keep one thing forefront of your mind at all times. Here's what it is. After reviewing thousands and thousands and thousands of sales calls and being on thousands myself, it's very important that you don't get distracted from this one principle. Most people think the main thing is product knowledge, knowing your customer, confidence, or keeping the frame. What advanced salespeople are going to tell you, they're going to tell you the main thing is emotional transference, which we are going to talk about in a moment. But that, guys, is not even as main as the main thing I'm about to teach you. Elite salespeople, the people that are closing over 50% on average, know that the main thing is specificity.
Wanting a little specificity, Ames. Specificity?
The power of specificity and what happens without it. The majority of sales calls of salespeople that are below 30K a month or 40% conversion, majority of sales calls that are not being done by 40K, the majority of sales calls, average sales calls, are full of vague goals or targets from the prospect, vague next steps, vague timeline, vague money, vague objections, vague consequences of an action. When you push and prod until you get specific answers on all these things, here's what happens. It makes your buyers confront their inherent contradictions. It exposes logical gaps and weak thinking. It exposes poor planning, ignorance, lack of knowledge and expertise. It makes you the expert. It exposes exact problems. It creates logistical support for solving those problems. It dimensionalizes the cost of staying committed to the problem and the cost of inaction, and it makes thinking about it very uncomfortable. Refusing to take action, i.e. buy your thing, becomes very uncomfortable when you dimensionalize the cost of inaction. And suddenly, sales becomes much easier because the prospects start closing themselves. None of us like being perceived in society as being stupid, ignorant, or lazy. And when we're made to talk about our problems that we're actively choosing to not change, we start to feel those things that we may be stupid, ignorant, or lazy because we're not improving our lives. And then we feel tremendous pressure to shift our actions to align with the identity of someone who is not stupid, ignorant, or lazy, i.e. the identity of someone who solves their own problems. And at that point, the sale is made. You need to be getting specifics from your prospects. Specifics on the problem, specifics on why they've let it go on as long as they have, specifics on what else they've tried to solve it, specifics on how much money, time, energy, attention they've invested in having the problem as opposed to having a solution that they could have had months ago. Get these specifics out, guys, and your sale will be made auto-magically.
Guys, if you're enjoying this video so far and you're finding value in the information I'm sharing, realize that it doesn't matter if you understand this intellectually. What matters is that it's practice and that it's real for you. So because of that, I'm going to invite you to join my school community. Link in the description. It's completely free for 7 days. You could come in and try out the techniques, take a look at a lot of additional content we have. But the thing that's really going to help you is we're going to help pair you up with a role play partner. And then at higher levels, you can also get your own calls reviewed by me every Friday. We can do a call breakdown. We can do a role play scenario, and we're going to skyrocket your skills a lot faster. Now, back to the video.
Number 2, for you salespeople, discovery is the sale, everything else is the confirmation. Now that we've unlocked the secret of specificity in your discovery, you need to know how and when to deploy it. And the answer to that is in the discovery section, in the first 10, 20, or 30 minutes of the call, when you're gathering information from the prospect. You and the prospect together in discovery are just answering the question, what are we here to solve? What future awaits if we don't solve this problem? What have you already gone through in the past pain that you're bringing into the present moment that is the result of you not having solved the problem before now? The difference between the cold brush off, we'll get back to you at the end of the call, and them buying is literally the difference between a vague discovery and a specific discovery. The ideal candidate, think about the ideal candidate. The ideal candidate, lay down one call close, would get on the phone with you and say, Drew, I know I have this exact problem. It's been costing me hundreds of thousands of dollars every minute that I don't solve it. I've been trying to solve it for a year. I'm sick and tired. It's literally life or death for me to solve this problem literally today on the call. Can I give you my credit card number? So all you need to do is engineer your sales call so that they have all those realizations on the call with you. You need to have them articulate out loud in their own words, not you saying this, but them saying this. the actual problem, the cost of the problem, past, present, and ongoing, the second order implications of not solving the problem, not just the direct effects of what it costs them, but the indirect effects of what it costs them to not solve it. 4, why they believe your vehicle, your method, your product or service is the vehicle, the correct solution to get to their goal. 5, why they believe your firm is the driver of that vehicle. For instance, a lot of people can do ads and funnels, right? So why do they believe that your firm in specific will be the right firm to partner with them specifically to do ads and funnels? And then 6, why they believe they need to solve the problem now, instantly, as opposed to putting it off and putting it down the road 6 or 12 months. Then your job is just to confirm everything they've said and close, and the sale is made. Now, we're going to talk about number 3, emotional transference. They feel what you feel. Hopefully you've heard this before. If not, I'm so glad I'm able to introduce it to you. One incredibly important part of sales is just emotional transference. They feel what you feel. If you feel awkward, uncomfortable, and unworthy, they won't pay you. On the flip side, if you feel calm and confident like an amazing leader, full of value, they will pay you over and over and over again. You need to be so certain that your product is the right product and solution for them that they would feel stupid questioning that. The game then becomes, as a salesperson, to do whatever you must do to ensure that 99.9% of your waking hours are spent in that calm, confident leadership state where you're absolutely certain that your product and service is the right thing to sell. You're absolutely certain that you are the one they need to sign up with each day. Now you might think, Drew, okay, great. What is my pre-call? I need a pre-call pump-up song. I need to get like Eye of the Tiger up in this. It's much easier, guys, to just arrange your life so you're always in state, rather as opposed to trying to change state 6 times a day every time you jump on a sales call. Now, people can dance, sing, jump around, do push-ups, whatever it is to try to get themselves pumped for a sales call, but all of that is an active exertion of energy. And what I'd recommend and what I'd rather you do is make it a passive acceptance and a relaxation into the energy of being the calm, confident leader that your prospects can trust and spend money with. This is your daily mental hygiene. This is why it's so important and why so many high-level sales leaders all say the same thing, which is that you need to be taking care of your time, energy, attention, and money, your team, and you need to be taking especially good care of your physical vehicle, of your body. You need to be taking care of your sleep, your meditation, your exercise, your nutrition, your sleep. MENS, MENS, meditation, exercise, nutrition, and sleep. Those key things are some things that I would suggest to you as a salesperson that you dial in and you own your life. Drew, I don't know how to meditate. Well, it's as simple as just sitting down, turning off your phone on all devices, staring at a blank wall, closing your eyes. The kids these days are calling that raw dogging life, but it's really just rediscovering meditation that's been around for 10,000 plus years. Exercise. You need to move your body, get up off the couch, don't sit all day, walk around, right? Get some fresh air. Go into nature as often as you possibly can. It's incredibly calming to sit next to a small river or a stream or a babbling brook. Just getting that sound of nature, the birds, the chirping in the field, in the air, the wind through the pines, the babbling brook by your side. Incredibly calming and healing to your mentality to have those things in your life. Nutrition. Obviously, you don't want to be eating a lot of processed junk from the center of the convenience store, right? You don't want to be eating the industrial food system garbage, sludge, waste. You want to be eating whole foods as much as possible, ideally from local farms, ideally as few food miles has traveled as possible to get to you, and ideally as few ingredients as you can possibly see on the package. Ideally, it's all ingredients that your grandma or great-grandmother would have recognized. Look, the body is a powerful access point, but the whole goal here is to change your own mind. If you can't change your own mind, you're not going to be able to change your prospects' minds. So you need to change your own mind about how you feel about the world, about how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your product and service, and this is done only through deliberate, effortful practice, where you're making a decision to daily garden your mentality and your thoughts. You need to daily garden and pluck the weeds. In my most successful sales job ever, when I was closing 5 to 10 deals per day, I would literally journal 6 times a day. Almost after every single sales call, I would write down the negative thoughts that I was excising from my mind, and I would write the positive, grateful, and prosperous reframes that I would use for every single thing that happened to me on the calls. And this is just mental gardening for the future. Every day, consider that what you're thinking, the thoughts you're thinking, are planting the seeds of your own future. If we really gave credence to our thoughts and realized that thoughts eventually manifest themselves in the real world, and that no thought has zero impact on reality, every thought has some level of impact on reality, then we would be a lot more careful about what we thought. So that is enough about emotional transference. It really all starts with yourself and the personal journey of self-improvement and self-management and self-mastery that you are on each day. Now, my business owners, let's talk. Because if you're still selling your own product and you're trying to maybe scale your sales team, let me give you the top 3 issues and problems that I see sales team leaders make time and time again, and business owners make time and time again as they're trying to scale their sales team. These are the things that you want to avoid. So, number 1, I'm going to tell you to stop hiring salespeople. I don't mean that you're going to be locked into selling your product forever. I mean, stop hiring people with a sales background. You should probably be hiring people that don't have a sales background so you can train them exactly in how you want them to sell. The best salespeople are not salespeople. I've hired over 500 salespeople to fill sales roles. And to this day, if you look at the top 5 salespeople that I've ever hired, including the gentleman who closed over 70% for 14 months straight, by the way, those that earned the most and produced the most for the company, 3 of them had zero background in sales or desire to do sales. One of them was headhunted from customer service. She went on to become a vice cop undercover. One had done multimedia and owned 500 pairs of sneakers. And one had only played semi-professional sports before coming to me. So the commonality is none of them had a sales job before, and none of them wanted to have a sales job. That was never their goal or their intention with joining the company or jumping into the role. Now, if you flip that equation and you look at the top 10 worst salespeople I've ever worked with over the last 12 years, all of them had been in the game for 10, 20, or even 30 years. And what that meant was that some of them had worked in the same role for 10 years, a full decade in the same role, if you can imagine that. And I can tell you that unequivocally they are the worst salespeople I've ever worked with. Not only in their inability to take feedback, their lack of emotional control, inability to change and grow, and also wildly inconsistent results in earnings. When people get into sales and they're in sales for a long enough period of time, a lot of them just become jaded and their mind locks into place like cement, and they become unable to change and grow. They become convinced, especially if they had some success, that they know how to sell every product under the sun, and that makes them unable to adjust and change with the times and change with different products. So looking in the most unlikely places for talent is going to be your watchword. You're not going to deal with the existing head full of knowledge that you have to retrain, people whose cup is already full, which means you can't pour any new knowledge into it, bad habits they've acquired over decades, or their inflated self-worth and ballooned sense of salary requirements. Hire non-salespeople and train them to sell the way you want them to sell. It's easier and cheaper. By the way, if you want my advice or consulting on hiring, since I've done so much of it and built 2 sales teams to over 150 people doing $6 million in cash collected per month, go ahead and hit the link in the description and fill out the form, see if we're a fit to help you. Number 2 thing, as a business owner, you need to do, this is contrary to popular belief, you don't have to do daily role plays. All right, sounds crazy. I know, slaughter the sacred cow. But when I was building that sales team to the $6 million a month in cash collected, we did no daily role plays. And the reason is because we were in what I call a leads-rich environment. We had so many incoming calls, on some days we abandoned a quarter of them. Now that's crazy. And that, by the way, is what happens when you dial in marketing before you dial in sales, which I'd recommend you all do. If your marketing is vomiting leads, you're in a leads-rich environment, then the most productive and effective time you can spend is time on the phone closing those leads, right? Rather than off the phone role playing. Daily role plays are really best for teams that are in a leads poor environment, meaning there's not enough leads to go around. So what are we going to do in the downtime? Well, we're going to practice and sharpen the saw and make sure we're ready when the leads do hit the calendars. So if you're in a leads poor environment, keep working on marketing. I promise you it's far from ideal. If your marketing machine is not vomiting leads on you that are high quality, you have work to do in marketing. Number 2, do daily role plays. Once you have more leads than you can handle, it makes you more money to maximize on-phone time rather than off-phone time spent doing role plays. Number 3, do not hire naturals to train your team. So there's this misconception that you're going to take your best salesperson who's a natural, who's crushing it, and you're going to elevate him into the role of a sales trainer or a sales onboarder or maybe even a sales supervisor or manager. Natural salespeople are not the people you want to promote and train. Generally speaking, because they have the gift of gab, it comes naturally to them. They don't know how to teach. My wife was on skis since she was like 3 years old. She can't teach skiing worth a damn because she doesn't understand how to learn it because she learned it at a pre-verbal level when she learned how to ski. So look instead for great trainers for people who almost got fired or churned from at least one sales job before they figured it out. If they didn't have to go through any hardship whatsoever to learn sales, they're probably not going to be able to articulate it to other people. You want someone who had to reverse engineer success by breaking sales down into its most tiny component parts and putting it together. Someone like, oh, I don't know, like potentially someone like me, for example. The definition of learning is same situation, new behavior. On that note, if your trainer or your leader is not producing new behaviors, you should probably replace them. So there you go. 12 years of sales knowledge in 12 minutes, including the 3 most surprising things for both sellers and offer owners. For sellers, specificity is the actual engine of decision-making. Make sure you're having specific conversations every single time. Discovery is the sale. Everything else is confirmation. And then emotional transference, they feel what you feel. And you need to really become a self-master, a master of yourself, a master of your own emotional state, gardening for the future in order to effectively sell. For business owners, hire non-salespeople, train them your way, maximize on-phone time if you have a leads-rich environment, and don't hire naturals to train your salespeople. Find those who had to earn it. If you made it this far, you're a peach. Like and subscribe for more sales sauce. You can book a call with me at salesbytomorrow.com right below, or you can join the sales community, school, sales excellence down below if you are a seller looking to earn over $30K per month and have offer owners and business owners fight over you like cats over a spilled bag of catnip at the pet store. Cheers.